listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
We can start for today's session, and the agenda for this session is we will be doing one all round. Go through on whatever things we have learned far. Right from level, dimensions, version or accounts, or what type of sheet is this. I will be presenting you a case study in front of you. You will read the entire case study and you will tell me that what type of accounts we need to build, what type of sheet we need to build. This is the first task. Basically, the first 1 hour of the session will be an interactive session. It could be one of the sessions where you will be much clearer that how you approach any kind of requirements of the client is there. I will present you a case study. You can ask me questions regarding the requirement and I will tell you some things. And you are the implementer now and I am your client basically. You are going to build this model for me. Sounds good. You will identify what are the accounts. You will identify what type of sheet we will build and you will identify if there are any levels and dimensions that we require in this user story. I will just present you the case study. I have already sent across this file to you. I think Cloud Foundation will be sending the same because I have already sent the file, including the last tab, which is your case study. Now I have two case studies here. Today we work on the first one, and the second one is in homework for you. Now, what you do is you just have to read all of the things that you see on the screen highlighted from here to here. And just take 5 minutes, read all of this, and now you can ask me questions, whatever questions you come, because this is the model requirement that I have drafted and I have given to you. I want to build one plan version. I want to build two models. I am saying one is this model and second is this model. I am telling you that I need a plan budget version. I am giving you first model where I am going to record my expenses. I have listed down my expenses here of the criteria. In parentheses, I am saying that this particular thing is bifurcated by type 1, 2, and 3. And then all these expenses are supposed to be fixed expenses, but miscellaneous expenses are supposed to be variable expenses. This kind of requirement I am giving to you. You just read it out once. Take 5 minutes. Let me know once you are done. Just to make it relatable, I am just changing one thing here. I am changing all my stores under CFAS demo level. We have created this level already, right? I am going to record my other expenses for all the offices which are there in this level. I have just changed the wordings. And these are the expenses. Let me know if you are done. Any questions on the case study which is there on the screen? Because in general, you are the implementer. You should be asking questions to me because not every information should be clear. Because the thing is, you have to build this model in adaptive now. What is the approach from you? After reading this, what is the approach that you will follow? I just have one question. Like we have fixed expenditure as well as variable expenditure, right? Correct. Variable expenditure. Is it a percentage of any of the fixed expenditure or on what basis? Is it a percentage of any of the fixed expenditure? Is it a percentage of anything? Or is it just variable in nature? If you read, this is a simple model that I have presented you. All I am saying is I am recording 5 expenses. Can you see 5 expenses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am saying all of the above expenses are fixed expenses except the miscellaneous one. I am just giving you an additional category. That 1, 2, 3, 4 are my fixed expenses. And fifth is my variable expenses. That is the only thing. You have fixed this like an expenditure which is fixed throughout the year. Variable. Is it a percentage of the fixed or I can just take a based on an assumption? No, it is just an input assumption. It is a very simple model for us. Now, can you tell me what is the approach for building this model? Now you have learned levels. You have learned model building, the type of the sheet. You have built all types of accounts. Now just tell me how do you go in adaptive and what do you start with after reading this? If you go in adaptive, what do you start with? What should you start? Can I go first? Because this is where you will improve that and understand how much you have learned far and where exactly is the gap that you can work on later. Maybe I will go first. I will just give it a try. The first thing is, I like to identify. First is like in adaptive, you need to go create your levels. I am just writing here. I am going to create a level. The level. This is the first thing. Under levels. Sounds good? If I take a simple into consideration, if the P&L is already having these accounts, then I would go with the general account. Else, I will take a custom account. Very, very good. Again, I am adding an additional information here that this is a separate model. This is a separate model, and this model will then flow in your income statement. In that case, what type of model you will build? What type of accounts you will choose? I will choose a standard one. That means custom accounts. Correct? Perfect. You are going to choose this as a custom accounts. That means what type of sheet is you are trying to build. If you are using a custom account, then what type of sheet you are trying to build? I would give it no. I would prefer to involve a lot of people in this activity. I would go based on a user defined. What is the problem in level assigned then? In this case, if you do level assigned, you can have access by levels. I meant level actually because levels are based on the cities, right? The cities and stores would be in a particular city, correct? Based on that, I would give access. It will be based on levels. Perfect. Perfect. You will create a level assigned sheet, correct? Level assigned sheet. Now, can you tell me inside level assigned sheet, what type of sheet you are trying to build? Is it a standard model cube sheet? Looking at the requirement. There is no requirement of any sales individual's data. It is only stores. I would go for a cube. I think you gave the explanation right, but you chose the wrong type because you explained it correctly that you don't need it by sales representative. You don't require additional information. You require only by store. If you want it store wise, I say I can go according to the standard one also, right? The standard sheet as well. But if I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Why I didn't go for a standard sheet is because when I go for a standard sheet, in case if I can go levels also, right? I will get correct, and I'll go for standard. Perfect. You will create a standard sheet. Now you were just saying you're confused on this, that you said that you will be building a cube sheet. Your row number. I will say row number this and row number this will be contradicting to each other. This and this you know, because a custom account cannot. Come here. A cube. A cube sheet will have a separate account structure, which is cube accounts. This and this does not go together. As soon as you say that this particular model you want it in a custom account, then it is automatically a standard sheet. A standard sheet. Got it. Got it. The only thing what I was confused of, the levels, for a moment, I kind of mixed levels with dimensions. Stores is a level, right? It's not a dimension. Correct. Correct. It's a level. Basically, if you're getting confused, let's open the level structure which we already have created. Because we are using the existing level structure only, which we created under the CF practice demo. This is our CF demo practice. And I'm saying that inside all the cities countries, we have certain stores like this 101, 102. We are recording all the expenses by stores here. We already have the store captured in the level structure. Correct. We already have the level structure. That means we do not require any other further dimension. After reading this, do you find a scope of any dimension also involved here? Because you cover stores, you cover the city, you cover the country also in one level here. Store is there, city is there, country is there, and then the roll up level. Everything is covered in the roll up structure of levels that we have already created. Anything apart from store you see as a dimension. Do you see your sales representative coming here? Do you see a product coming here? Do you see any kind of a dimension that is even written? It's a no. As soon as I say that I want the data, I want the data. I want the data by. I just writing. Like let's say by a region. Region is not there. By region, I mean to say in a store 101, there is a separate region store 1012. There is a separate region. Whenever I say the region can be dimension. It can be attribute also. Correct? It's your duty to identify whether I'm planning on this region level or it is only for analysis. As soon as you see this line, your question to me will be that you are using. You want the data by region. Are you going to do planning on that? Are you recording data by regions or you are only doing the analysis or the reporting part of region? That's the question that you should be asking me, right? At the moment, I don't have this information. It does this particular steps does not require a dimension. This is the correct approach handling this particular user story. Reen, are you clear also with this? And do you agree with Thomas? Now, once you've created levels, the levels is already done. I'm just going to write this is already done. We have the level structure. Do we have the account structure here? Do we have the same account structure created in Adaptive as a custom account? Oh no, we have to create it. I will read pending. Pending. Do we have a sheet created for this particular model? Right, pending. 2 actions are pending. Now let's read again and just find out the things which we have not addressed here. Let's read once again. Version you can ignore. We have already created a version. Time period. Period is also. Time period 1 to December. Let's consider Jan to December. Let's consider any practice budget version. And we have already done with the level. Level is done. Time is done. Version is done. Accounts. We have written pending standard sheet. We have written pending. Read again and let's see what things are missing for us. There is one thing that is missing. And you will have to tell me what is that. Because if you don't identify it, we have to create a split. Split needs to be created. Split for miss expenses. That's right. That's right. But now there are 2 ways to tackle this. If you remember, what is the way that you will choose? You can either split it or you can group it right in the, creating the ledgers. You can either group it there or you can split it in the sheet. Correct? Will you ask the question to me for this particular thing? What type of requirement is mine? The reason why I'm telling why I would is because, like how I mentioned, when I was an inducer for Adaptive, we had this option of bonus, where in bonus there was 2 departments. Finance consists of accounting as well as FP&A. For that point of view, we had created a split, and for bonus split to FP&A, bonus split to accounting team. As well as implementation team, there was a third team that was a Workday team. At that point of time, we had kind of reached out. That's the reason. I would check. Correct. Even I will say that my requirement is also same. I am going to use this type 1 at a different expense. I am going to use type 2 and type 3 for a different thing, but I want it under miscellaneous expense. Now you tell me you will create that in the sheet or in the group of the account structure itself. Can you come again? Can you come again? You would want it in. Will you created this for me in the sheet, or you will create in the account structure itself by group, and inside then you will create the three expenses that it rolls up the data. Now in case if you want it to be kind of each levels, or if individually has to be keyed in, maybe I would prefer a split, which would roll up to your miscellaneous expenses. Any which way, if you choose it to be group as an account, or if you do split in the sheet directly. If you choose any of this option, it is directly going to roll up to miscellaneous expenses in both the cases. But if you use this option, you will not be able to use it in the like. You cannot directly address type 1, type 2 and type 3 somewhere else. Suppose in any other model. In any other model, I want to tackle only type 1 thing. I want the data for type 1 to flow there. Can you? Can you use the split option in that case? The answer is no. No, because split is something which you added in the front end of the sheet and there is nothing in the back end. I would say I want to use this as an option. You would create group for miscellaneous expenses and you will create a certain accounts there, and that it rolls up to this particular thing. This is done. This is also more advantage of, sorry to interrupt. One more advantage of, creating a group instead of splitting is, in case on a longer run or in case during implementation time itself, if you want to regroup it to a different rollup, yes, that would be pretty easy, right? If you're correct. That's a good point. That's a very good point because then you can easily change the rollups also when the things change for certain expenses. If you want, there are 10 additional things coming up in miscellaneous. You can add it in the rollup and it automatically calculates the total miscellaneous expense also. That is again an additional benefit. Once the implementation goes longer, there are certain things that can keep on changing. Now we have covered many things, but there is still one more pending thing which is remaining. And without that, you cannot proceed ahead. I mean, you can start building the account, start building the sheet, start building the group for miscellaneous, but there is something additional which you will not be able to complete in this model. What is that? It's good. Like you have done many, you have answered. Almost the 90% of the model is correct. Is it? Is it like we have to give access to the sheets that level assigned? No, that's the building part where we will cover it. But with respect to the model, one thing is pending. Only 10% of the model. See, this is the part which we do in the design phase. Whatever you did right now is just nothing but your design phase. Whatever. You mean the importing the data, is it? Importing data is after you create the model. After design phase, you create the model that is called a configuration phase. After configuration, you do testing. In testing, you do the data import and test the data, whether it is doing correctly or not. Design phase is something which you're doing currently after reading the requirements. But during the design phase, you need to get 100% go ahead from the client, right? At the moment from me, you have only got 90% go ahead. What is the 10% that is missing? Let's make it simple for you. I'll just highlight what. What is the line that is missing and your this model is not compute calculating or having that record that you are maintaining something in the adaptive to tackle this line. I've highlighted the line for you. All the expenses are supposed to be fixed, but miscellaneous expenses are variable. Expenditure. This line is missed. How do you tackle it? You can ask me a follow-up question on this. This thing, it won't. This come during your importing of your data, wherein you give certain kind of uh, linkage. Correct, because fixed. What is the linkage called in adaptive? You are on the word. What is the linkage called? Is it like a formula assistant? Uh, do you see any formulas here? Do you see anything? No. It's the correct word you use. It's about linkaging. It's about linkage. You're linking something to something. What is that called in adaptive? In this case, what are you linking to? What word? It's written here, all the above expenses. That means you're linking the expenses. You're linking this thing to something. What is that? Something to either. It is a fixed expense or there's a variable. What do we call that? You are linking it to an kind of an attribute. Perfect, perfect, perfect. What is what? What is the one-to-one relationship called? It is an attribute. Research and development expenditures, stationary expense, repairs and maintenance, legal and provision. You're doing a one-to-one to fix. Correct? And your miscellaneous. You're doing one-to-one to your variable. Correct. What are these called now? What type of attributes? These are called as account level attributes. These are called as a create account attributes. Now this is complete. Now your design phase. I'm going to give you that 100% model is. Go ahead and you can do the configuration part. Now this is the steps that you need to follow for in order to tackle this use case. Perfect. This is what I wanted the understanding to you. And that's why I wanted this session to be interactive. And this is exactly the way you are going to tackle all kinds of requirements that come in the system. Now, since we have done the design phase, now we will build the model and then we will import the data and test it. Sounds good for you, Rineos? For the next thing, it's correct, right? Like, yes, it's correct. It's correct. You read line by line, you go line by line, and this is the correct process of building a model. This again we have, today's class is about operating expenses model. We will cover this. And during this, I will request Rini to participate. Let's build this model just by steps given by Thomas. Now create a level. This is done. Create custom account spending. We will build this mod. This accounts as a custom account. Let's try to build it. I will go in modeling. I will go in custom accounts. Wait them to write them down. You go to modeling, you go to custom accounts to build the accounts which are there reflecting in my Excel file. At the moment, you can see several other groups created. Why are these groups curated? You understand it when you add accounts in the standard sheet. If you directly add the group, all the accounts belonging to that group gets easily added. Let's name this model something. I would say other expenses. I would say other expenses model. What I am doing is I'm just creating one group. Other expenses model practice. I'm going to name this. I'm just naming this as a group. Inside this group, I'm going to create these 5 accounts. One by. How do I do that? I click on it. And all of these are my standard accounts. I don't have any driver based model for this. All of these are standard accounts. That means we are going to do certain kind of data entry in this. Everything is an input account. With what type of feature we use create new account feature. Inside this group, let's create one by one. You can write down the steps if you want to. If you're thorough, now how to create it. I'm just going to use copy paste. The name is research and development. Here I copy the same. But here I'm going to shrink the name because I don't want this big name. I will use something like this, that it is understandable also. I will use this code for your research and development expense. Otherwise, a simple thing is you can use R&D like this. Like this also you can do. Basically with the word R&D, you understand that this is for research and development expense. This is custom periodic. Again, we keep everything as standard. This is standard. We don't change anything. This is number or this is currency for you. This is a currency account. When we change this, we don't enter a formula here because we want it to be an input account. Everything is done. I just save it. One account creation is done. You can see the name here and the code here. Similarly, I am going to create the remaining 4 accounts now. I would just copy paste one by one and create it. Now the session is very simple because you have already done the design phase. This takes a lot of time. This and this takes a lot of time in any implementation. After that, the process is very simple because once you get hands on the system, then the configuration and testing becomes very easy. But the problem is in the design phase and the requirement phase. I'm going to do this as we are trying to tell that once we understand the requirement clearly, then it is pretty, you can build it fast. It is very fast for, the people who have hands on finance models and the people who they have done a great work on the design phase. Once you have understanding with the existing finance model, the requirement is good and the design is good. Then the next thing is just building and testing. You build, test and import. You build, test and import. Actually, that import function is a lot of work, right? It is. That is where the maximum time gets consumed. Again, this is currency and this is an input account. Second account is created. Similarly, let's create the third and fourth account also. Create account. For this, I will write as repeat maintain expense. I'm just using the short form because I don't want the code to be very big. Otherwise, it will be a huge formula for us. Currency again, and this is expense. Third account we have created. It's the same steps. We have only few accounts. I'm creating manually. No need to do the import template. But if you want to, you can always do it manually by import template also. Last is your legal professionals. This is the code for your legal and professional charges. And this is again currency and its input. 4 accounts are done. Now tell me I want to create this miscellaneous expenses. Inside this I want type 1, 2, 1, 3. When you create type 1, this should roll up to what? This should roll up to miscellaneous and miscellaneous should roll up to this group. Now you create miscellaneous expense as a group or as an account. Can you tell me? As an account or as a group? What do you will prefer? Any guesses on this? Because both the things, if you do, it is going to create the structure like this only. Inside miscellaneous, you have type 1, 2, 1, 3, but there is one difference. If you use a group and if you use an account, what is that difference? I want to make you understand. We would create a group and merge the other accounts into it, right? Ideally, that is the process, but what feature you should use here? That's my question. Will you use a group? Let's try to say you're trying to build something like this. You're trying to build miscellaneous expenses. And inside that you're trying to build type 1, type 2, type 3, right? You record anything in that and it rolls up to this particular value. Suppose there is 100 here, there is 200 here, there is 300 here. What is the total that will come here when you roll up to? It will be 600. Correct. This is the ideal output. Correct? Now in adaptive, there are two features. One is your account and one is your group. Similar like this is a group created. And in this group you have R&D, stationary repair, maintenance, and then another miscellaneous system. These are accounts. You can see the code is reflecting here, but the code is not reflecting for this particular thing which you created. This is a group. What happened? Adaptive. If you create this as a group, if this is created as a group, you will not get this total as 600. You will get the bifurcation here, but in miscellaneous expense, there will be nothing reflecting as a total. But if we create miscellaneous expense as an account, then only the total will be reflecting here. You got the understanding, the difference between the two features. If you use miscellaneous, if you create miscellaneous expenses as a group, this will not reflect the 600. The summation of the strings will not reflect in miscellaneous expense. But if you create this as an account, the summation will be reflecting here like this for miscellaneous expense. You will understand it better. Let's create now as an account. First, let's create. But on a realistic or on a practical basis, everybody would want to see the summation, right? Exactly. And that's why you will always create a new account, not a good account. Saving this now. Inside this particular expenses, I am going to create type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 1. Miscellaneous expense. Currency. Standard. You will see it will roll up under this thing, which is correct. Similarly, now I'm going to create another account, type 2, and just save it. And I'll click on miscellaneous, and inside this I will create the third one and save it. Now, what I was trying to say is what I will do is, for your example, I will create a miscellaneous group. Also, that you understand better what I was trying to say. The name is, I'm just writing as a group. This is just for demo that you understand the difference between this, and I'm going to create a few more accounts. I will say type 4. This is just for demo that you understand the difference between a group and a counting, and then adaptive. Now I've created my model. I've created this particular model inside this. I have the 5 expenses. And we just have to see what is the purpose of the miscellaneous expenses group and the account. As you see on the screen, there is a code for miscellaneous expenses total, but there is no code for miscellaneous expense group. But there are certain types of things listed down, one of the other. Now let's move on to your design file, and we have created this custom account. I will just write done. Now what you do, you create a standard sheet, right? In inside level assigned, you have written you will create a standard sheet. Let's do that. You'll go to modeling. Far clear, right? We have done with the second step, customer. Where do we go? We go here in level sheets. We click on level assigned sheets and we create a standard sheet for our yes. We are doing this. Steps now, standard sheet creation. And here we are. How do we create a standard sheet inside modeling? We go to level assigned. We click on new sheet. I want to give what is the group name that I gave actually? Let's keep the same name. The group name was this other expenses model practice. We'll copy this. Go. The name is, what type of sheet is this standard? Do I change anything here? It's good to go, right? Standard. Then there's a standard. We don't have any prefix. Correct? Now what it is asking, the step 1, it is asking you to select accounts. Basically, what accounts should be reflecting in your model with the name of this. You have already created it in the background. You have to add it here. How do you search for your accounts? The fastest way is either use a search bar or either use this particular filter. What type of account you build it for this model? It was a custom account. You have certain custom accounts. All the custom accounts will be reflecting here, and you can scroll down. You will see certain accounts. Otherwise, you can just search it here, the same thing, and it is reflecting. I've searched the group name. Basically this name, the group. I've directly searched it here in the builder, and it's reflecting now here. I will click on the group and automatically all the accounts listed in this particular group will get added. That's the benefit of creating a group in it. This is the benefit. You can see other expenses model. I have one expense, second, third, fourth, and this is our fifth expense inside that type 1, type 2, type 3. And this again we have added additionally to see what is the difference. This is just for example. We have added the accounts. This step is completed for us. We can move ahead. Always ignore the second page in a standard sheet because this is an additional feature and we don't really use a dimension on a standard sheet. Always ignore the step to it on it. Click on next. Step 3 is by which specifies the view of the sheet. What exactly we need? By default, the sheets are like this. You have the accounts listed on this axis and levels on this axis. We have levels here and accounts here, and this is the time span. But in the third step, it gives you an option whether you want the view by level mode. Once you click on this particular checkbox, what happens is your levels will be reflecting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the levels will be reflecting here and the accounts will go here. But that is not an ideal way of representation of a model. Always we keep things which is by default, which is not tick. This is not tick. We also don't take it. We saw this in the standard sheet recording. There is a recording for standard sheet also. Correct, correct, correct. Next. Now comes the part of which particular levels you want this particular sheet to be given access to. This is the fourth step and the important step in this standard sheet creation, that if you want this particular sheet only to be reflecting for my levels, not for this UX early rubric or CTR. You don't want this sheet should not be reflecting to these guys. If you want such kind of requirement, you will always come here and select individually which store you want. Individually, I'm going to select all the levels here. It is, if you select each levels, you have to go down and just select all the levels inside that. Chicago, London. We don't have created anything in the stores here, but it's store 104. I want it. I want it. Bangalore. Chennai also. And most of your demo is also. I have done my selection of the levels. Whatever you see ticked here, it's applicable for this. This model is going to be visible for these levels. Will it be visible for Japan? The answer is no, because you haven't. This is part of the security. One step of the security that if you have created this as a level assigned model, you need to specify what type of levels should have access to this sheet. I do the creation of the sheet. Once it is created, you just click on done because you have done all the step 1, 2 and 3, 4. And then if you go below, you will see that the model has been created. Just to see the front end, what you will do, you will go to your navigation menu. You will go in this sheet section. You will go and the last, and this is the model. Just to open it and just to see how the model is looking, there will be no data inside that because you just now created this model. This is the model and this is how it is looking. I would say I want only this is the model, and let's say I am going to do this in my version, which is called as a test version. Let's say we are doing it in the test version. And we want the data from January to December. We have this correct template. If you go in the requirements, I have built this model. I have built the levels. I have built the customer accounts and built the standard sheet. This is also done. Now my model is looking like this and I'm with it. What is the remaining step? Your remaining step is group as an account. You create this is also done. You created both a group and this is a group and this is an account. You created both, but you will see which one is the best, which one is giving the best example for you. This is also done. What is spending? Create account attributes and then we have to map them also. Once this is done, the entire model is done. Correct? Correct. We will create account attributes now. How do we create account attributes again? Go to modern. Then here is the tab account attributes. It can either import or create it. We can either import, but now there is only two values. We will just create it. This is the type attribute name and the attribute values. We know the attribute values are either fixed expense or variable expense. Let's name the attribute is a type of expense. This is the attribute name. I would just say underscore also type of expense. And inside this type, I would say there are two values. One is your fixed. Right. And the second one is your variable. This is done. You have created this attribute. Now what is spending? You need to tag. You need to do the tag. In order to tag, where do you go? This is the attribute. This attribute is going to tag. Attribute values. These are accounts. You have to go to accounts page. In the accounts page, where did you create the accounts? You go in the custom accounts. In the custom accounts, where do you go? You go in the group which is down below here. Correct. And then if you select one and then you go on the right hand side here, you will see that in account attributes, the final attribute is the one which you just now created. You just go in this, select this, and you tag it that this is a fixed expense. And you save it. Just one, like you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like we had created initially one group, right? Assume we had split. We had created two groups for the accounts. We had created two groups for the accounts and one group is specifically for your fixed expenditures. Another one is for your variable. And you have imported the accounts. And later when you want to create an attribute to the ledgers or the accounts. Like here, we are going individually wise and selecting right. Instead, we could have just selected the other expense model, practice hyphen fixed expenditure and directly given the attribute type as fixed. Is that possible? It is possible. What you are trying to say is another way of tackling this kind of requirement. What happens? Sometimes they forget. This is in case if you're not using your upload. This would actually make your tagging much easier. Correct, 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 correct. It makes sense, right? Yes, it makes sense. What happens is you create a fixed account. You create 1, 2, 3, 4 inside this fixed account. Basically, this rolls up into your fixed account. This is also an account. This is an account. At the moment, this fixed and variable is an account attribute in our system because this model demands only for analysis purpose. That's why we create it as an attribute. But if it is required for planning and you know additional things, whatever the company requires, they want it in the PL. They want the fixed thing to be reflecting in the sheet directly. You give them this particular thing as an account, but at the moment, in case in, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in case in this example. Also, if you go to the other Excel, nowhere we have created as here. We have created all these four expenditures. For example, research, stationery repairs and maintenance, legal expenses miscellaneous. These are grouped to your other expenses, model practice. Correct? What I'm trying to tell is other expenses, model practice, hyphens, variable expenditure and group only the variable expenditures under this particular group. Correct? Correct. Yes, you can do it. You can do that. And later but there is one catch. You cannot attach the attribute to a group. You can only do it your ledger individual wise. You can only do it to an account. This is an account. This is an account group. You can only do it to an account. Okay. Got attribute to this also, but you cannot attach an attribute to miscellaneous expenses group, for example. There is nothing here coming that you can. Can you attach an attribute to other expenditure model practice that group? You can do it, but I don't think it should be working fine. I feel let's try it because the reason is because in the example, what I gave you miscellaneous will not fall under this. We are creating a separate group altogether. Since your parent is fixed, your child also automatically become a fixed right. Correct. Correct. For example, let's do for miscellaneous expenses here. Inside miscellaneous expenses, we have the type 1, 2 and 3. All of these are variable. You are saying that if you do attack directly for this one as variable, automatically these values will be getting the same value. Correct? That you can do that. That you can do. But when you are, for example, let's check for type 1 if it is reflecting or not. It is reflecting. It should practically reflect, right? It should reflect. But this is not the same case when you do for levels. If you remember currencies, you're not able to have the same currency. Individual levels can have different levels. That's why attribute in accounts behave differently and attributes in level behave differently. Now, what I was trying to say is yes, in your case, which you said, hyphen, variable hyphen, this you can attach the thing in the group also. But the problem becomes it does not really gives you, the correct approach for doing this. Always do it individually or do at the roll up account like this, but not at the group level basically. Because group is, you are only utilizing this for a better representation for the sheet. You as soon as you would say disable, collapse this. This is nothing, but this is the purpose of adding it in the group. Because when you create the model, you just add this group and all the accounts listed there gets added here. But yes or two in your case. If you create two groups and do underscore variable, underscore fix, you can attach the attribute directly to the group and all the things will be listed as a variable and fixed. Yes, you can do that. At the moment, I'm doing it as manually. I'm attaching this as fixed. And then repair and maintenance also fixed. You can do this via upload template also. You can attach directly to the group also. You can attach directly to a roll up group also. Roll up account also. You can do both. At the moment I have done the tagging and then this is also done. You have done. You have configured all the things in Adaptive. Create account attributes and done the tagging also. You have done with the design phase. You are done with the configuration phase. Any questions for? Because we have completed 1 hour and we have completed this case study. We have able to design it. We are able to develop it also. Development is also complete. Now only thing is we need to test it how it looks. Any questions? No question. Good start, right? It's a very good start. I did not expect you to be like in. You also experimented in a detailed manner. That why you are creating the account. What type of account? It was a very, very positive response from you. I liked it. It's good. Actually, I was making notes when you were explaining. Ah, very nice. That actually helped me. Thank you. Sometime later. Maybe you can teach adaptive also. You never know. Now we will import certain data here. As you can see, the sheet is locked for us. We are not able to fill in some data. I'm going to load data for, let's say I'm going to load only for India inside Mumbai for N under 1. It's grayed out. I'm not able to load data. Let's do it with the import template. How do you go with the import template? You integrations import data. I'll click on import data. Select the version in the file. Then select the plan version. I'm going to do it in which version? Testing. Test. Ah, select. I'm selecting test here. And this is standard. I'll just download the template because this is a standard sheet. I will click on sample data import here. This is the file which we will use it for your import template. It's coming. We delete this by default row because it is only for our reference. We delete the region column because we don't require this, the region, code and name. We never delete the C column, which is split level, and we keep it blank. We don't fill or we don't delete rest of the things. A column, B column, we will fill it. And then which particular months we want. At the moment, we have only till. I will drag it till December that we have certain data. It's not there. Let's try to do it now. No, it's not happening. I will just write it down. Jo- I have the months now. Account. All of these are my accounts, which where I want the data. I will go here. I want to load the data individually for all these accounts. I would copy the name like this research and expense. Stationery expense. I will copy. No repair and maintenance. I will copy. Legal and professionals charges. I will copy. Now tell me, can you load data on miscellaneous expenses? You have to go to type 1, type 2, type 3, right? Correct? Because this is a roll-up account. You cannot load data at the roll-up accounts. You have to always have the child. Correct? Type 1. It's the same. I just write it. 3. Now B column I need to fill. This is a store. No, not this model store 101. I will just see what is the code for store 101. I will just search it here. There is a search option. Also, you can directly search for the desired store and it reflects, and you can copy the code. There is no underscore. I'm using underscore here in the code. This is all. Store 101 in this column. A column is done and B column is done. Now let's see a random data here. I've entered some data randomly. Just copy paste it. I've done with the account mapping. I've done with the level mapping. Now I've done with the data. Now let's see what happens when I upload this data in our sheet, which we just built. Client standard. Or choose the file. Good to go. I will import it. If you had attended all the sessions far, then today's session will be very interactive for you because we have just covered everything that we have learned far. Actually, it's a feel good factor as well. I mean, I get things right. Correct. We are facing some problems here, which is saying that we are getting unmapped identifier because it is not correctly mapped. There is a manual way of mapping. What we can do, we click on individual things. We click for the first one and we search it here. Click and you can see in custom accounts we have built it. I would select here and accept. Same goes with repair. I will just search for repair here and just search this one. Then I will search for research. And it is this one, R&D. This was our code, right? And then the stationery expense. I will click here. Search for it. This is a stationery expense. Once this is done, the error automatically goes away because it pops up that once whenever you do the first time import of a new account. The first thing is you need to do the mapping thing. If the system is not able to identify it correctly, then you do this manually. Now we have done with this. Let's continue. Now it will ask for the level mapping. Now the system has already identified it automatically because in the Excel file you mentioned it correctly. Story 1 and Story 1. Now import plan data. Let's see if we get any errors, but it's successful. It's successful. Let's refresh the model and see if the data is reflecting for store another one. Oh, we did not load data for type 4 and type 5. I wanted to do that also. Let's do one thing. Again, I'll use the same template. Downloads. I will just copy this. And this was type 4 and type 5. This is not required because the data is already there. And I will just change the numbers here. 1000. Now I'm loading the data for these types also because at the moment you see there is no data. Once that is done, you will understand what exactly a group works and how a roll-up account works. Let's do this again. Import page plan. Here we select the test version. Standard sheet. Correct. Choose the file. Open this. This is correct. This is correct. Good. Now, once you have already done the mapping, it will not show the error again. At the moment we don't have errors here. Level is also important data. It's successful. You see how much time it takes only for the input. It is half or like half a minute. It's just the Excel file creation. That is a time consuming thing. But we suppose the Excels are already ready in the systems. It is about running the lookups. I just had one question. Like when you're importing, right? Will the system take import if there are certain kinds of formulas in the Excel? No. Good question. It does not take. It will throw an error. You have to just copy paste the values, right? It's a very good question actually because if the Excel file has any kind of formulas, any kind of if any one cell also has a formula is equal to something any syntax, the adapter will not take that file only. It directly throws out of the window and integration is failed. Basically, you will not see anything. Always enter numbers in the Excel file and nothing else. Only number is allowed and date is allowed. That's it. And nothing else. We have the data right. We build this model, whatever there was written in Excel file, we built step by step. We did the design phase. We did development phase. Now we are doing the testing phase. We are in the testing phase. This is an input model. 5R and stationery, repair maintenance. But for miscellaneous expenses, which model is more preferable? Looking at the screen, accounts. Miscellaneous type 1, 2, 3, you get the total account something. Correct. If you click this collapse, you will see the total reflecting here. This is the correct approach. But now let's see for this type 4 and type 5. There is nothing called as total coming up like this. There is nothing. The adaptive by default creates a total account for every roll-up account. This is a roll-up account inside that we have 3 child. It's creating a roll-up account. When you collapse it, you see the total. But when you collapse this, what do you see? You see nothing. Correct. Then I think it is a very incorrect way of presenting it. Correct. It is from FP&A perspective. It is an incorrect way of presenting. Correct? Similarly, if you collapse other expense model practice, you will see nothing. Nothing. Why nothing? Because this is a group. You cannot load it on the group. You can only load it on the accounts. Similarly, for this category, the best approach was having a roll-up account and categorize it this way to get the total. If you use a group, this is the problem. If you use a split and do the same, the problem is you cannot address the type 4 and type 5 later on. That's the problem when you use the split. And this is the problem when you use a group. Always use a roll-up account feature when you are categorizing the types, several types inside one particular account. Sounds good? This model. Any questions for? Reen, you're also clear for this. Groups. Because this is also one basic level of interview question, that what happens if you create a group in an account and a roll-up account, like a group in an account and a roll-up account? What is the behavioral difference between these two things? This is the explanation for that. Then, if you have a roll-up account, you also get the total for the child accounts. But in the group, you don't get the total and it's not displayed in the sheet. In order to see the individual things, you always have to collapse it, because if you always have to expand it. If you collapse, there is nothing visible on the sheet. Always use a roll-up account in the sheet. Now, since we have done this particular case study, the thing is today that we are going to build one normal model. Basically, it's an operating expenses model where, if you know, every operating expenses model will have the S, G, and expenses listed down. There are certain models where they have the selling costs listed, where they capture different kind of line items. It can be salaries of the people. It can be commission. It can be travel expenses. Similarly, general costs. There is rent, utilities, and equipment, stuff that you record. And then there is administrative costs, where you record certain management salaries and other stuff. But then this is a separate model. This is one model that you will build. But now the problem is this expenses needs to flow in the income statement. Correct. Sometimes people directly flow in the same account as an SGA expense. All the accounts will flow directly in this account. But if they want individually selling costs, general costs, and administrative costs, you will do the total and you will link it to the cell. You will do the total for general cost. You will link it to the cell. You will do the total for this course. You will link it to the cell. This is one model. And this is your second model. You are doing the linkages from one model to another model. Today we will do this exercise. Also, we will quickly build this, and we will quickly build this simple income statement. And we will link the one account to this and this account to this. The remaining 45 minutes will be this. Now I want Renee to make me understand if I need to capture this operating expenses model. This is my operating expenses model. You tell me what is my approach going to be. This is my operating expenses model. And this is my income statement. This is the model which I need to build. These are the line items that I am recording. What is my approach should be? Hold on. Let me look at it. It is a simple model. We are just building similar kind of thing. It's going to be similar to this thing. What is the approach for tackling this model, which is operating expense? I don't understand this. this report. What is selling? If you know any kind of a financial statement of an operating expense, they have to record their selling costs, the general costs, and their administrative costs. These are the parent accounts that I have listed in yellow. And what do you see in this particular cells? These are your child accounts which are rolling up to your parent. Basically, salaries, benefits, commission are all part of selling costs. Rent, utilities, equipment are all part of your general costs. And these two are part of your administrative costs. But all of this total is nothing but your operating expenses. We are creating a model to record these expenses in a different model. But then we want this data to flow in our income statement. This is our task. We want to build this model first, then we build this particular model. This is your model number 1. This is your model 1. And then this is your model 2. Once you have built this, then you can do the linkages, the approaches. You need to understand what type of sheet needs to be built. At the moment on the screen, you only see accounts, correct? You're capturing the accounts. There is no dimension. There is no attribute. There is no nothing, correct? What you do is you simply create this as a standard sheet. I will just write down. You will create it as a standard sheet. You will create custom accounts for this. Once you have done this, 2 steps, you just add it. And then for the ones you are highlighted in yellow, the yellow color accounts should be your roll-up accounts. It should be like this. It should be created like this miscellaneous expense. You see, selling expenses, the total will reflect. And then the selling expenses, all the things will be reflecting here. Like this, we are building this model now selling cost. Similarly for general, similarly for administrative. Sounds good? Good for you, Thomas. Yes, I got it. Perfect. Now we will build a similar model and then you will understand that once the model has been built, how you can create a separate model and just link it. Now, I will quickly create these accounts. How do I create these accounts? I will go in my modeling. I will go in this custom accounts. Now, this is a new model, new separate model. I'm going to create a separate group similar to like this. I will create a separate group. I will name it as other expenses model practice. This is my group name. Oh, I saw operating expenses. We have built 2 groups. Inside this, I will create selling cost, general cost, administrative cost. Let's create one by one, or either we can do it by import template. This, we will do it with import template. How do we do import template? Import account structure. Then download the template, that content, and then just open the file. It's opening. Is my screen visible, guys? Because I can see it's hanging a bit. It's visible for me. I'm just creating this account selling cost. or just write all of this one below the other. This is my general cost. I'm creating this template that I can do in one go because I don't want to create it manually. It will take a lot of time. This is the another way of doing it. I'm creating this one. Rows up to this. This is rows up to this. This is rows up to this. Now all these accounts. This should roll up to selling cost. This should be the approach. The general cost and admin cost. And then the administrative cost. This is for you. How did I categorize it? This is the structure I want in adaptive. I would say it's periodic. Type is periodic. This E column is mandatory. I would say this is the same. I will just use or I will just remove the spaces directly. It's to speed up our session. General cost 20. This is. Code is done. And I think there is one more account which is display as. It should be currency for all. I've done it for all. Let's try to import this and let's see any doubts in this because we are just creating this particular sheet. Sorry accounts that we can create a sheet out of that. Let's see. Let's see if we get any errors that we can fix it. Notice, or all the accounts are created. Oh, I don't see the accounts. But no, it's not done. Let's see. Let's do it again. I don't know why it happened. Import update date. Choose file upload. Now we can see that whatever more accounts that we had imported in the template, it's reflecting here. Operating expenses group. And then we have three row up accounts: selling cost, general cost, administrative cost, like similar to this one. Inside selling cost, you will see all of these accounts listed one below the other. You will see selling cost is here. You can see salaries and all of that. Then you can see general cost. It's loading rent utility equipment. It's created. Then you can see administrative cost. It's created. One part of the thing is done. We have created the accounts. We have created yellow accounts as the roll up. That is done. Let's create a standard sheet for this model. How do we create that? We go in modeling. We create a level assigned sheet for this also, and then we click on new sheet. It's loading new sheet. The name is Operating Expenses Model Practice. This is the name of our sheet and it's a standard sheet. We will keep it as it is. We click on next. Then we will be adding what accounts we require in this model. We require the operating expenses model. I'm just going to search. This is not the thing. I will click on search again operating expenses. Let's search, keep on searching until our name comes. This is our model. Operating expenses model. We have selling cost and we have done the salary. I just click on the parent one, the group, and I just add it to this group. You can see in this sheet, we have added this, all the accounts that we just now uploaded. Now one step is done. We click on next. We always ignore the step 2 of our standard sheet because there are no dimensions in the sheet. Step 3. We also ignore this step because we don't want the view by level mode. We always want it by your account mode. We always ignore and keep it by default. This sheet is also, again, only for those levels and not for the other remaining levels. How do we tackle that? The step 4 is basically making you select whichever levels you want. You will do the thing again. It's just like we did for the previous sheet. Let's scroll down. You'll have to individually select all the levels. New York Store Receipts, Philadelphia Store Run Set, Chicago. This is the lowest level here. Nothing under Manchester and London. We have Mumbai, then we have Store Runner 1 and 2. Bangalore. We have nothing under Bangalore. Store 104 Chennai, Australia. We have done the selection of the levels and the step 4 is also completed. You just click on create sheet and then click on done. Once you have clicked on done, you can see in the bottom this sheet is also created. How do you see the front end? We just come here. Sheets, the below you can see. This is the model which we have just built. This is exactly the model which we wanted in the screen. All the selling cost, the rent and everything is reflecting here. Now we have to enter some data here, correct? How do we do that? We again click on the import template that we can upload the data. Let's go in the test version again. We are in the test version, and let's say, for this example, we are working on the data. We are working on some store under Philadelphia, maybe store 107. We are working on store 107. We are computing the operating expenses model for this store. We want certain values this from this. Let's download the template for this. How do you download? You go in the navigation menu, you click on integration and then click on import data. Then you select the correct version and then you select the version which is the test version. Standard is because this is a standard sheet. We just download the template and just open this. I will also open my previous template of the accounts which I have imported that I can copy paste the names. That our import template is very quick. This is our import template instructions, actuals version. We delete the first row, we don't require. We delete den region, we don't require. We want this March 23. Let's load the data only for the 3 months of 2023. We are not loading the data for the remaining months. I want to fill in the data. Your accounts, whichever account it is, I want to fill the levels. I want to fill the data for 3 months. What accounts are there in this model? We will write it down here. All the child accounts should be mentioned in our import template. Can you load data in selling cost, general cost, administrative cost? The answer is no, because this is roll up accounts. You cannot load data on the roll up. Always mention the child accounts and load the data. That's why I downloaded. I opened the previous template where we have already listed down this. I'll just copy paste this in our import template. This is the input template and I will delete general cost. I will delete administrative cost because they are our roll up accounts. Any doubts? Because we are only uploading the data for our child accounts. Now which particular store we are working, store vendors and send. Let's just see what is the code of my store. 107 that we don't get a mismatch. Love. I'm just copy pasting the code written here. It is like this. I will use instead underscore. In the template, I am going to use this thing in the B column. I will do for all the levels. This is the thing. Now I will enter some random numbers. $20,000, rentals, 80,000, 80,000, 60,000. I'm just entering some random values and then we can load the data. If these values are comma separated formatted, will it be a problem? Sorry, can you come again? If these numbers are formatted with commas and decimals. It's Normally, we keep it as general. We don't have any other data. This template demands that you keep the number in number format, keep the date in date format, and not use any other. And also, if you add any formula like this, sum, and you do kind of any addition, if the template has a formula, just like Thomas was asking the question, you will not be able to import this data because in this Excel file there should be no formula written. That is also one thing. We are importing this data. Let's see, I've done with your column, done with the B and the three columns. We have filled in the data. I would just click on save. Oh, sorry, click on info and copy path, and I will import the data here. Again, this is test. This is correct. I will choose the file. I will import the data. We will see the my. Now accounts mapping is there. We need to do the account mapping here one by one. We do the mapping. Distribution should be mapped to distribution management. Basically, whenever you upload any data, we follow the account mapping process, then we follow the level mapping. Once it is mapped, then only we can proceed, otherwise we cannot proceed. In this window we have to map it first before we go ahead. Oh, I'm going to map the office supplies. This is the office supplies, the professional, and then the travel expenses. This is our account. Done. Once you have mapped all the accounts, the error messages disappeared. I will do next. And then it will ask me for my store mapping, which is 127. It will do the mapping also. This is the level mapping. And then I click on import plan data, and then the import would be completed. Now, if you open the operating expense model for 107, we will see some data for these 3 months. Let's refresh. Can you see now in this screen, you can see selling cost bifurcated like this, general cost bifurcated like this. If you want to see the total, you just collapse all the things. Now, this is the thing of operating model that they can see selling cost individually, general cost individually, and administrative cost individually, also right. If they want to expand, they can use the expand option and they get the bifurcation. One type of model is this, where we created operating expenses model. But now what they want is the client is demanding that I want another model, which is my final income statement. And all the expenses from this sheet should flow here in this final model. Now from this model, this data, the 21,500 flow in our income statement. I will quickly create one normal income statement with a simple account. Let's create that. I will create a normal income statement practice. I will create as a group income statement practice. I've created a group here and then I am going to create one account in the group. If you are familiar with an income statement, there are several accounts that are reflecting for any any company's income statement, right? There could be the revenue captured. There could be expenses captured, right? Similarly, for operating expenses, there are line items which are necessary to be reflecting in the final income statement, and that's why you need a model to compute it. Now I'm going to create SG&A, SG expenses as of parent thing. Suppose in some kind of final income statement models, they are recording the currency, they are recording the expenses in one account only. I'm just creating this. I will save it. I will make you understand that what I'm trying to do. I will quickly create a model for income statement now. I will quickly go here, level assign sheets. I will click a new sheet. I'm creating a demo income statement. Income statement is the same process. This is the third sheet that we are building today. I'm going fast because you will understand it. Income statement. I will just write practice. It's again a standard sheet. We don't do anything here. I'm going to add. I will just search for the income statement practice group and then add it to the group and the account which we created. It's reflecting here. Click on next. This we ignore. Step 2 is ignored. Next step 3 is ignored. Next step 4. At the moment, I am just clicking everything because income statement ideally is applicable for all the levels. Every level needs to be the income statement access because they will need the computation for all by individual levels. I've clicked and given the access to this sheet for all the levels. I created this sheet. Once it is done, click on done and you will see the front end of the sheet. And now you will try to understand. You will exactly understand what I'm trying to achieve here. Let me just open the sheet for you, and this is your final sheet which you created today, which is income sheet. Let's create income statement here. Let's go in our test version. What I'm trying to achieve is this is the test verse. This is in your operating expense model which you just now created. In the test version for store 107, you recorded certain data here, right? Selling cost, general cost, and individual line cost. In this model, you are recording the cost, but you need these expenses to flow somewhere. That these expenses should flow to your income statement here. In source. Now you will understand what. What is what we are trying to achieve. In this particular income statement sheet for store 107, I need some data to come out here for January, February, and March. At the moment, can you see data? No, you cannot see data. This is the task that you created an operating model, and you can. You are inputting the numbers for individual things, but these expenses should flow somewhere, and that is your income statement. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to create this income statement as a driver-based model. This was an input-based model. Everything was an input. There was no drivers, there was no calculated accounts, right? But here this is entirely a driver-based model where there will be linkages coming and flowing from several models to this particular final model. Now what we are trying to do is we will do the linkages of this account plus this account here in this particular account. You getting? For January, February and March, we should get some data. That is the end goal. How do we do that? we have to write a formula in the back end. I will go in the modeling section where we created the custom accounts. I will have to write the formula in the income statement account for the SSG expense. I will write something like this. I will click on income statement. I will click on SSG expense as a whole, and then I will scroll down on the right hand side to data type, and this is the formula. I am going to click on the formula assistant. The formula assistant is the place where we are writing the formula, where we are mentioning the drivers, basically. We know the logic. What is the logic for this? It is nothing but the addition of these row number 2, 10, and 16. Basically everything. The total needs to be reflecting in our income statement for January, correct? What I will do is I will write some formula here for SG expense account. Here I will select custom because these are custom accounts. Now I am going to address certain accounts from other model. We are in the income statement model, right? SG expense belongs to this model. But we want some data from operating expenses model, correct? I am just expanding the operating expenses model, and you can see there are 3 accounts as a roll-up. I am going to select these 3 accounts in this formula that I add directly the total cost. What I will do? There are 2 options that I can do. I can select individual childs one by one, or I can either select the parent one. The simplest method is directly select the roll-up account. Basically what I will do, I will double click on selling cost, it got added here. Plus, I will double click on general cost, it got added here. I will double click on administrative cost. This is the simple formula. This is the simple formula that I am writing here, and I will click on, I think the cell is not editable. We are not able to write formula 1. Second, we are not able to change the formula for this 1 second when we start creating a new account. This is disabled. The idea is basically we write the formula of selling cost and this that it reflects in this income statement. As soon as you write the formula, the addition basically tuition 500 to 500 to 595, everything close to 6 lakh will be reflecting here. Same for February, same for March. The total here, that is reflecting individually. You will see as a total here. At the moment, we are not able to do that because my formula is not. I am not able to write formula because we don't have the edit access to this origin, I think. But you understood the formula right. It's a simple formula of making the addition of 3 accounts. Another way to write the formula is you simply select all the child accounts. For suppose they don't want certain accounts to be imported. What you will do is you will click individually like this salaries, benefits, commission, double click. You will do travel expenses, double click, distribution, double click, marketing cost, double click. Then you go and rent, double click utilities and office supplies. You can select one by one and the formula will be becoming huge. In order to make it short, we decided with the first formula, which was this is one way of writing the formula. This is one way of writing the formula. Another way is you just select the parent. One like this, general cost like this, and the administrative cost. They are the same output. But you can write a formula like this, and you can write like this also. There are certain cases where there are exceptions that they don't want the distribution cost or any marketing cost to be added in these expenses. You can just delete this and utilize this formula instead, because what happens, it is by default captured here. You cannot remove the marketing cost and the distribution cost from this. You write, in order to do the changes in this formula, what is the best approach? You will do, you will do, you will do. You will select whichever cost you are removing from your then distribution cost minus your marketing cost. Like this. This is one way of writing the same formula correct, because this one is your role up accounts, and in the role up accounts it is by default covered that the distribution and marketing is already captured. You want to remove them from this. You did a minus sign. And the same account, and the same account. The same formula is written up here is basically the addition of all the child accounts apart from distribution and marketing cost. That's it. This is the difference. Any questions? The only thing I could not show you is the values flowing out here, because I'm not able to save this thing. It's not allowing me to write the formula. But once you just save it, the values reflecting in this model operating model will reflect in the income statement model. It's just basically a value flowing from this model to this model. That was the work that we wanted to achieve today. But the rest of the thing is fine, and you understood the three model creation today. One was your other expenses model, one is your operating expense model, and the income statement model and the linkages, how you can link the sheet. We are going to start with the report. How do you go and navigate to report? It's very simple. Just click on here, and this is the page for your reports. In this session, you will just understand what are the features that a report can capture and how you can build a simple report, and then the additional functionalities of each. It is thoroughly going to be a practical session, more on the reporting part, because there is not much to be explained. It is much to be learned that how things are built in the report. Just to give you overview, it is very simple to use. It is very simple to create. It is just a drag and drop. Whatever things you require in the columns, you just drag and drop it. And whatever things you require in the rows, you just drag and drop it. Simply everything is done in the back end before the report, which is your modeling elements. And after that, it is just a drag and drop thing. It's very easy, and every end user can build this. Let's try to understand how the report screen looks like. When you click on the reports, you will be by default in the overview section where the favorites tab is coming. If you mark any kind of reports, they will be reflecting here. Mostly all the reports that are shared with users. We are this particular user. Suppose you are creating some report and you have not shared it with anyone else. It is only going to reflect in the personal folder. At the moment, there are no personal reports created by this user ID. As and when you start creating or start editing any report, it is going to reflect here. Once you share this particular report with another user, suppose there is another ID in the organization and you have given the access to that report to that person. Then for such case it is reflecting in the shared folder, basically. This is nothing but the grouping thing where you can see what are the reports that are built by you. What are the reports that are shared by the other users and the favorites and basically the reusable? There are certain sections in the report. These are the reports where you can see this is a folder symbol. You can have separate folders created for separate type of reports. If you want any kind of financial reports, you can create a separate folder called financial reports. If you want a separate folder for expenses, only you can create the folder for expenses similarly and build the models inside there. How to build this? It's basically you have to click on the Add New option. Once you try to click on Add New, you will see there are certain different types of reports that the Adaptive is giving you. Today we are going to focus on the first one. At the moment, this is the most frequently used report in our tool. It's like a metrics report, and we have the data similar, just like we have in the sheet. I will just open one sheet for you. Let's say I'm opening. At the moment in the sheet, what do you see? You see levels on this side. You see accounts on this side. You see time on this side and you see the data. Suppose I only want. Let me just view this by account. I want account on this side. The purpose of report is, it's very simple. Basically, you know there are certain requirements that are coming that we don't want the access to be given for the sheets to all the users. This is a PL sheet and the P&L sheet should not be reflecting to all the users. There could be certain criteria. I'm just giving an example. This can be any sheet. That sheet access is not given to them. Instead of giving the access to the sheet for such users, you can give it as in the report format. Basically, you can just say that only selected accounts. At the moment, if there are 158 accounts, only 10 accounts, you can select on the report and just give the data for that. At the moment, here in the sheet you can see 158 accounts if you just scroll deep and deep. There are a lot of accounts, right? But in the same case, in the reports, you can control that how many accounts you want to show, how many levels you want to show. It gives you an additional filter, basically to crop the number of accounts in the report. For example, you are creating a report for P&L statement for another user apart from us. But we as a user have the entire access to the P&L statement. But then they have only access for on-bus revenue, for example. You create a report for them for this particular account, and they can only see this data in a report format, not in the sheet format. And that is the purpose of creating a report. Now, if you look at the P&L statement, what have you dropped down or dropped in this row section? The answer is accounts. You want accounts here on the rows. What do you want in the columns? You want the time frame in the columns. And then the levels is there because you want the data for all combinations for all the levels. It is not only for Mumbai level or it is not only for New York level. It is for everything, right? In such cases, you want to drag and drop the levels also. We will see the same thing, how we can build it. Let's go to your report section. Now you can create a folder just like you. I would just create your folder. I would just say practice. You can see a practice folder will be created. And inside practice, you can then create your new models or reports. You can say, Here you can say it's creating a new report. You have to click on Add New always. Matrix is the first one which we are learning today. This is the most frequently used report. And if there is any kind of requirement that the user needs to do analysis on, this is where it is supported. Because it is like a web report, basically. It is on the same tool. It is not downloading anything in an Excel file or anything like that. It is basically giving the same data in the system through a different platform. Basically, at the moment, this is the matrix report builder. You can see that. You can see all the elements that you can drag and drop here. It's written drag and drag to add rows, drag to add columns. Basically, once you have done creation of everything, every element here, you can just then drag and drop. Simple. If you want accounts here, you simply go in accounts. You see which accounts you want. If you want any kind of accounts, you just drag and drop here. Same goes with time. If you want time here, you go in time and you drag and drop the time here. There are filters and parameters option also, which we will see in detail. And then this is the save option. This is the run option. Basically, we will see how this is operating. Now I'm just trying to create a simple report. Let's say, I think we build one sheet. Let's just open it. We build this other expenses model thing. I think the data is not here. I think we loaded the data. Let me see in any other sheet. This is the sheet that we worked last time where we created the operating expenses. Selling costs. We have several accounts. General cost. We have this accounts. Administrative costs. We have this. Now I want to create one report to another user. And I just want to give them the access to 3 accounts from selling costs. 1 account from general and 1 from this. Only 5 accounts. Any 5 accounts. I want to give them the access. I don't want them to see the other accounts. I want only the 5 accounts to be shown in the report. How you can build this report, we are going to understand. Looking at the screen, I want 5 accounts on the left-hand side. I want the January, Feb and March columns on the column side. And then it should be for all the levels. This is the first report which we are trying to build. Now here, what do we add? We add the 5 accounts one by one. I will go in accounts first. This is nothing but your custom accounts. And then here you can see that you have built your other operating expenses model. And then I will expand everything. And then just simply drag and drop only 5 accounts out of this. Suppose I want travel expenses. I dragged and dropped the accounts here. Now I want the distribution. I will drag and drop here and just keep it below this. It's organized in such a way that it is one below the other. Marketing costs. You can see something when you drag and drop red cross is coming. That means that you cannot drag and drop there. you will have to drag and drop in the blue section that is coming. Blue section is nothing but the segment. We will understand the elements part also. But now let's simply build one simple report. I want utilities. And from this I want other professional. I'm only building a report for 6 accounts to another user. Now what do we want in the columns? We want the time. We want only 3 months. Let's say I'm going to drag and drop. Again in the blue section, I will drag and drop. It's very simple. Like any end user who has just gone through the adaptive ones, they can also build the report. It is very simple to use. Now you tell me, looking at this sheet, you have added the accounts. You have added the time. Now what is missing? According to you, the version is missing. And what is missing on the screen? I can see accounts. I can see time. I can see the version and I can see the level. These two things are missing. And that needs to be addressed in the report also. Because if you don't mention the version, then it will not understand to the report that from which version you need this. What data exactly needs to be populated in the report. That's why it is very important to mention the version also. Once you click on back to elements on the top of this, you can just add the version here that this is from the test version. Basically, I've selected version here. And the elements and on the just above time, I've added this. Now from this accounts, this columns, you should take the data from your versions only. Same goes with double level structure. I will click on levels and I will add all the levels from above all the accounts. I will just drag and drop this and do this. Now what I will do, I will just do properties. I will explain what is this properties thing. Let me just check what is happening in the hierarchy. Manage hierarchy is also there. It's custom. It was expanded. I will explain this later. Now we have the 4 elements in the builder. Let's just save this. First, you need to save this report whenever you run it. By default, you can see it is creating as an HTML report. Basically, when you run it anew, a new window opens up automatically and that report is run. You will just see. This is a practice report. This is created in the personal folder. You can also create. Let's create this as a shared report and inside shared reports. I've created a new folder. I cannot see what. What was the name of our folder? Practice, practice right. Let's see practice. I've saved it. Now I will run as a HTML in a new window. You will see this is the same tenant, but a new window. It is going to run this report in the HTML format. Now you can see if you compare this sheet in this sheet. Thus, users were able to see all the accounts and this data and certain non-data on the which are the cells which are blank, basically from the other ones. They can get a top view basically for all the accounts. But if you want to restrict, you can see the users by for some accounts only. The data expense for January was 35,000 in this particular version for operations level. Now you can see that if you just expand this, what happens? You will see one below the other. The thing is popping up. At the moment, CF demo. This is the total. And this is the total operations level. Basically, operations is your parent level inside parent. The data is coming from this parent, right? If you expand this also, now it will give you the further bifurcation that the data is coming from your USA level. If you expand the USA also, it will give you this data is coming from your Philadelphia region. If you expand the Philadelphia, you will get the store-wise data that this particular data is coming from your store. And now this is not bold. Now this means that this is the lowest level of information and the bold thing is your top level data. Suppose there are 10 stores in Philadelphia. See, all the stores will be reflecting here and the data will be not in bold. And then this will be the summation of all the Philadelphia stores. At the moment, we have only the data entry for one store. Correct. That's why it's the same, but it will change. The Philadelphia data rollup will change because there are several other stores also. Same goes with your USA rollup data. In USA, there can be separate other cities. Correct. And in separate cities, there will be separate stores. The data will roll up. USA data will also change at the top. Same goes with your CF practice demo, where you have several other countries like India, Australia, and UK. All the summation of USA plus India plus Australia will roll up in this CF demo, which is nothing but the total that you see. This is the advantage that in the system, directly you can give this as a small report. And then the user has the feasibility to expand it by levels, expand it by time, or whatever you that gives an additional functionality. Just a simple report we have built. Now we will just see how. What are the additional features and the functionalities of any report. Now, if I just click on any account, you can see this functionality is coming, which is drill into. Now, drill into is nothing, but you get the bifurcation of the travel expenses by the attributes that you have attached to this particular thing. These are nothing but your attributes, your dimensions, whatever you can call. Basically, if you want this data bifurcated by some kind of thing, you need to capture that data in the system first. Correct? If it is not captured in this system, then the reports will also not be having. For example, if you want to understand the 70,000, that are the salaries in this level. You need to understand this by employees, right? You will link. You will have a data based on the employee also. Correct? Similarly, in the report, what do you just quote? For example, this travel expense, you will just see and do it by employee. Do we have employee areas? You just drill down by employee. If there is some data by employee, then all the employee salary will be reflecting here. Suppose Thomas there, Ron Renee is there. Ron is there. Certain names will pop up and the values will flowing at the moment in the sheet. It's a normal account. You haven't captured the level of information that is needed to have this information by employee. And that is the reason why it is all going in this particular dimension, which is called as uncategorized. By default in Adaptive, an uncategorized dimension is created for every dimension. This is a value, basically employee name uncategorized. This is a value of employee name as a dimension. Since this in the sheet, you don't have that level of information captured by default. Adaptive is going to translate it in this particular dimension value, which is uncategorized, because adaptive needs certain kind of thing that can hold the data. And this is where it is created by default automatically in the system. And all the data is going in the uncategorized thing. Suppose in this sheet you have the category mentioned that for Rini the salary is this, for Thomas the salary is this. Then it will pop up in the report when you use the drill down option. This is one feature of a drill down, and then you just click on, you just go to back. I think this is the back button, which is your, until you come back to the original output of the report. And similarly, if you click again, you will see that there are different kind of things. Suppose you want to understand by color product or by gender. You can do that again. You can do that again. This information you don't have by color product. That's why it has been created by default. Uncategorized value in the color product dimension. That means everything is going in that particular dimension. If you want to understand what is the value that is coming by colors, red, pink color, whatever it is, you need to capture that data somewhere in this, any in the model. If it is not captured, then you cannot expect the report to function in that way. You need to do all the analysis in the start, that what are the things the user requires for analysis purpose. If he requires the data for analysis by gender, by color, by employee name, you need to understand that from that sheet. I mean that sheet should capture that particular data. You know that level of information should be there at the moment. It is not capturing because it is only a top level data and this is the only account. We will do a similar kind of exercise for any other report also, but now we are just understanding what are the features of that. Same goes with the numbers. If you click on the numbers, you will see what happens. It's loading. It is showing you an option which is called as Explore Cell. This Explore Cell option is there in the sheets also. It's a different window. If you select here and do Explore Cell, I just right clicked on it. And it gives you that from where this particular information is coming. It's basically like a drill down. If you see this particular page and this page, it is exactly the same. From reports also, you get the Explore Cell functionality. And from sheets also, you get the Explore Cell functionality. We'll just close this again. Go to reports. You are now just understanding how you build a report, how you do analysis, because this is only about practicing. This is only about how you are going to build the reports. Once you are done with the model management thing, this is just a 10% of any implementation work because maximum things you have completed. Now you just have to build reports. It's just a drag and drop thing. Once I click on this, you will get the Explore cell and then you can just click and then go down to the lowest level. At the moment, this is not the lowest level. You can see it's rolling up to something and this is the roll job too. If you go deep, you will keep on going to the lowest level. You can go further in USA also. It's giving you a pop-up to click. Basically, it is a clickable icon here. Philadelphia is a clickable thing. Until it is not clickable, you understand that this is not the lowest level of data. You can see it has disappeared. That means this is the lowest level of data. This is the value. We have the we know the account which is travel expense. We get the code. We get the type. We get what is rolling up to. We get the lowest level, which is your store, N107 rolling up to Philadelphia. We get the lowest month, that this is the January rolling up to quarter months. This is the exact combination of data for this particular 35,000. That's the understanding, and that's the usage of an explore cell function. Whenever you get there are questions from the implementers that I want to know that from 40,000 is the value. And from 40,000 what is the contribution from this level? What is the contribution from this product? This is the functionality where you understand that explore cell by doing this particular thing, explore cell, you get the further bifurcation of that data. This is one of functionality which I wanted to explain, and now I'm just doing a right click on rent. Drill down into. You can drill down this by any dimension and any attribute. It is there. If there is a, I think we should take a relatable example, because at the moment for this report we don't have much information captured, and that's why it will flow in uncategorized dimension only. Let's take a relatable example and build a report for that. Now let's do one by one at a time and just increase the level of our reports. We did this cube thing. We don't have data here. I think we did that in my tenant now. I need to upload some data first. And we have it in test version 2. Let's quickly upload some data here. Because if there is no data, then the reports will not be pulling out anything. I want some data here. Let's import. Plan version. This is the cube practice. Cube practice. And then download template. Actually, I want the accounts. I want the accounts. Data entry is always happening on the input accounts and not on the calculated accounts. I'm just copy pasting those accounts where I need the data. Now I need levels. I would say this is my store. I would use this particular store, which is store 107, to load the data. I want another level actually. Maybe I'm going to load data for 2 levels for this, 2 accounts. I need a product name. Now I need dimensions. Product name. What are the product names? Product. Let's copy product A. I will copy both the name and the code in the template. This is the name. Let's change this. I want this data for a different product. Let me just cross-check once if the syntax is same. I mean the code. Now what I need? I need this dimension, which is sales representative. Here I will go in sales. I'll just say Alex. The first data is for this. Second data is for, I'll say Julie. This is done. Jan-Feb and I need March. I need some data here. I need. I'm done with the data import. I'm just going to load it that we have any sample data at least in this sheet. Again, this is the way to import data. Test the sheet. Now it is going to ask me for the dimension mapping, account mapping, and level mapping. Dimensions. First it is map. Whatever there was in our Excel template. Now we have to map the accounts which are not mapped. You can just say purchase price, map it with this purchase price here. It's done. It's done. Continue. Again levels. I need to map the levels also. Come your store. I think I have not selected store N7 here. Just give me a moment. Here in the levels, I need to see if all the levels total. I don't think. Eh, I wish. No. Notice, see if see. This because for this sheet, the problem was you did not give access to all the levels. You had given the access for this sheet only for 106. Always make sure that the access is given to all the levels when you are building a level assigned sheet, at least. Now we will have to do this again because now we just made the changes to the sheet. You'll have to cancel this basically because now a refresh will not work. Now let's say I'm going to do the process again. F. Choose file that downloads this. Import yes, dimension mapping correct, then account mapping. You'll have to do this manually. Purchase price accept now. Continue. Now it is mapped and send. Import the cube data. It's done. Now I'm just going to close this cube sheet. I have some data here. Refresh. Let's see if it is popping up in the months of Jan and Feb and March. We have data flowing now in the 3 months. Now I'm going to build a report for this. 3 accounts and we will categorize them by the filters product, color product. Sorry that we get the data by color in the reports. But before that I need to understand if the color has been mapped to product. Otherwise if there is no linkages done already in the system, you will not get that data. Let's see, how do you see that? You go to dimensions first, whether they are mapped to any colors or not. Let's see. The color. It should be attached to product name basically. Let's see product at dimension attributes. It is there. Pink. Is this color for B? We are using black color. For C we have gray color. That is there. Same goes with our sales representative. Do we have the gender attached to it? We don't have the gender. What I will do? I will create a gender attribute for your sales representative. For sales representative, I want to create an attribute. Here I will go. Gender. Now we have already gender sales rep. Inside this man, male, male. Another one I want. Now I've created the attribute, but the linkages is not established. For linking, I will go in the dimensions in the sales representative to link the gender to that. Sales representative is not established. Sales representative is here. Alex, now you can see it's reflecting here. Only attributes created for sales representative will reflect here and not the other. Same goes with this male, same goes with Julie female. Now we have the data in the system to do the analysis by gender and to do the analysis by color. Let's try to build one report. I will go here. This is the way. Go to report. I think we created a folder practice. Inside we have this report. Now we are going to create another report. I would say metrics, add new. Then I will give the rows. Here I want number of product purchase and the purchase price per quantity, but I want only by colors. I want it by color only. Where is this? Here is the account. First I need to drag and drop the accounts. This is a cube sheet. It will reflect in the cube account. Similarly, you can add GL accounts, custom accounts, metric accounts, model cube, and the another feature functionality is that we can add irrespective of all the accounts. Basically, here we can add any account from cube sheet, any account from this sheet. You can see different data from different models, but in the same report. You know there could be certain requirements of such kind of reports that I need this particular account from product revenue sheet. Give this here. I need two accounts from sales driver sheet. Give this here. In the same, in one report, in one view. Basically, you can see different kind of things together. This is another added a plus point of creating a report for the analysis purpose. At the moment, we are creating one for our standard cube sheet which we have created. I will just drag and drop the two accounts that I require. Now I am just going to drag and drop. The two drag and drop accounts are done. Always above accounts, we place the levels. This is, by default, the standard thing which we do it because it gives you the collapse and merge option. Collapse and expand option for the levels, basically. Now I want the times veneer only for 3 months. I require it. You can select multiple things and drag and drop at once. I just pressed on control and I'm just going to drag and drop here. And this is how it got. Jan, Feb, March. Basically, if you want to add a lot of months or a lot of accounts, you just use the control and just drag and drop and in one click it is completed. The accounts, we have the time but we don't have the version. By default, this 4 functionality is mandatory to get any kind of data intersection. Even if one is missing, you don't get anything. Test version, I will just drag and drop ahead of this. I will just save this and just show you what is happening. Practice report, practice report. Practice report, practice report shared, and I will keep it in the practice folder, practice report. That you can also view it. I will just click on this now and I want to run this report to see what is the output. I don't know if it's running. Now you can see that we have pulled out the accounts here. There are 2 accounts in this report. We are getting the January data and the month-wise data for like here for this particular version, and then the levels is on this side. Same goes with this. If you expand it and you get the lowest level of information. Now you can see New York has some data. Philadelphia has some data, and then total USA rollup is nothing but the addition of the levels which are inside the USA store, USA country. Same goes with the stores. If we have several stores here, you get the bifurcation by store in the New York. If you notice, by default, this functionality gives you top level data. Suppose if you want the data by default should come, like it should come for all the levels in the whenever this report is open, it should not look like this. It should look for all the levels. It should be in the expanded format. How do you do that? You simply go on edit and then you simply click on this operations which you drag and drop the levels here. You right click on it. You click on manage hierarchy. You can see this. 3 options are there. You get the options here, what you need to select. If you do this always expanded in the report directly, by default all the levels will be displayed. I'll just click on apply, I will click on save and then I will click on the run button. And now you can see what is the changes in the view. You can see it's by default all the levels expanded in the report. Now the users don't have to go one by one and do like this. Initially by default it was this view, but now by default it will be having this view because you have already figured that out in backend that for all the users you will give this particular initial view. Initial view is always expanded and all the levels should be visible to the users and the data. Again, the question is if I have given this access to this report, practice report 2, and I have only access of store 106 and not for store 107. Again, in this report, I will not be able to see the data for 107. That is there. The data is not going to be shared across the levels if you don't have the access in the first go. It depends if you have a level access only to 2-3 stores. Only 2-3 stores will be reflecting in the report. It's not like you cannot see in the report. Whatever levels are visible in the sheet, the same thing is applicable in the reports. If you get a question of security in terms of report, then this is the answer basically. Even the security aspect is covered here in the reports. This is one feature of expand all and the initial view of collapsing. Now we know that this is the data, but I want this information by color. There are two options that you can do. Now what I can do is number of products purchased. I can just simply click on and use this drill into functionality and I can just use by color product. If I click on color product, you will see the bifurcation of 900 by colors in the report itself. At the report is the bifurcation of 900. At the moment, you don't see an uncategorized value created here because you have already captured the data here by color and by the gender. Also, if you are capturing that level of information in the sheet, it becomes very easier for the report to call it out correct. If you don't capture that information, that level of information, the report will not understand where to put it. That's why in our previous reports an uncategorized thing was popping up. If I just open this and just do by color product, here you can see color product uncategorized is coming. That means 35,000 is going in this uncategorized dimension because in that sheet you did not capture that level of information. But here in this report you can see the bifurcation by color, that pink data is this much and black data is this much because you had did the data entry and you had captured that level of information and you did the tagging. Also you have established the 1:1 relationship in the backend. That's why you are getting this kind of analysis in the system. Now go back and just try to see if you are able to see the data by employee or by sales representative. You have to click on this And now I want to have the data by my sales representative, which is here. I click on sales representative and then you understand that. What is the sales representative contributing to this particular sheet? Alex has done this much, Julie has done this much. You get that analysis because you have captured that level of information in this sheet. Also correct, you have captured product. You have captured this sales representative. You have captured the color also. Same goes again. Go back and do the analysis by the gender. Do we have the gender here? This is the gender which we use. Click on gender, say sales rep, and you will see that male people have the contribution is this much and female is contribution is this much. Such kind of things are always managed by dimensions and attributes, and only when it is having that particular information captured in the sheet, and that becomes very easier for the end user to run any kind of analysis. How much male people are there? How much male people are contributing? All this level of information is very, very valuable for any organization. It is based only for reporting and analysis purposes. At the moment in this sheet, you are not able to do any clarity of analysis because everything is going in uncategorized. This is not a good reporting skill. Now, why this is not a good reporting skill? Because you did not capture it, the information. This is not a good reporting skill as well. You cannot do any analysis on this sheet. That is the meaning of that, because there are no dimensions, there are no attributes. Yes, you can do analysis on levels and accounts, but that is very limited. Mostly reports are built only for such kind of analysis where you get by dimensions and by attributes. This is one way of doing analysis by using the drill into functionality. This is very important, and this is one of the interview questions, that what happens when you use a drill into functionality in a report. It is asked in the examinations also, and it is asked in the interview also. What exactly happens? It basically gives the bifurcation of the data of all the accounts that are reflecting in that report. You can bifurcate this data by dimensions. You can bifurcate this data by levels. You can bifurcate this data by attributes also. This is the answer to this particular question, and this gives an additional information to the end user to do any kind of analysis based on whatever he wants to do. By color, he can do. By gender, he can do. This is the one way of doing analysis using the drill into functionality. Now what? If you want the information automatically reflecting in this report, you can do certain changes to the report that you have that information capture. How you can do that? You can just add the color filter or the gender filter directly in the model builder. Also click on edit. In that case, you click on edit and just go in dimension attributes, and suppose you want this particular thing. Information captured for male and female. What I will do? I will just drag and drop gender and keep above the two accounts which I've selected. All the two accounts will now give me this particular view. I will click on save. The initial view was only the accounts reflecting. But now just see the output. What happens? The output will change. I will just collapse this. I need to do one more thing again. I will have to do a right click, manage hierarchy, and always expand it, because I need the information of male and female. At the moment is giving me at the top level only. I've just saved this and now I'm running it again. Now you can see we have the accounts. Now we have another column added here and another column level. Level has been expanded. Now gender is also expanded. In the initial view itself, you get which store, you get which gender, and you get the data. This is the way of doing analysis by not using the drill into functionality. In the report itself, you added this particular attribute. You can add dimension also. You can add an attribute also. Now let's try adding a dimension to see what happens. You can add anything, any possible thing, in a report builder. Now I'm trying to add a dimension. I'm going to add a dimension. I'm going to add a dimension. I'm going to add a dimension. I think it's sales representative. Yes, sales representative. I'm going to add this here. Right click, manage hierarchy, always expanded. Apply. I will click on save where you click on. It's just like a practice thing. You just need to understand how a report is built and what does the fund standard is, because there is not much to learn with respect to reports. It's basically you have done the 90% of implementation. Now, this is just the remaining things, and there are a lot of reports to be built. You can build a lot of reports in like a quick drag and drop thing. You just need to understand what needs to reflect on the columns, on the rows, and then you can build it. Now you can notice that another column has got added here, sales representative, and you get the data here by sales representative, by gender, and by store in the same sheet. You can do any combinations whenever you try. Whenever you try creating any kind of a report. I think we can move ahead. Let's try to understand. What are the other functionalities of a matrix report? This is the way of creating a normal report, basically. Now there are certain additional things which you can do in a report. First, let's try to understand what is the design elements that are coming here. You can see one segment is there, and suppose you want another segment. This is the first option. You can just add it here, and then you can add several other accounts in this. For example, I am going to add a few more accounts, and this is the thing. I will add a total purchase price here as a separate thing. I will save it. The error was if you are having a separate segment, you need to mention the levels also. I will just drag and drop here and save it. Save and run. Now you can see you have added a new feature which is called as a segment, and now you will see how it is looking. At the moment, if I do a rolls up thing, I think the sheet is blank. It's blank by default, it does not. The reports will not show. If the values are 0, it needs to be computing. I need to change the formula first. Formula will go in the cube sheet. Cube practice. Yes, then cube accounts. I think this is a calculated account and I mentioned the formula is 0. I think I need to change this formula that it has some values. What is the formula? It is simply multiplication. I've done this. I will just refresh the sheet first to see if the data is coming here. Now, the data is coming. Let's go to the report. Let's just refresh. We have a refresh button here also. In the bottom, you can see now it is coming. Total 522,558. This is a separate segment that you have just added. This was one segment. And now this is another segment that you have added. You can have several segments in the similar kind of a report. We can also cover when we do tomorrow, like what is the correct approach of using. You know the right one segment? Wise thing. At the moment you are just understanding all kind of functionalities. Let's try to learn another one. Accounts, time level versions, and then dimensions and all kind of attributes. You understood how you can add it. It's just a drag and drop. Similarly, account attributes also. You can drag and drop. If you want this type of expense that we created, we can drag and drop. Similarly, level attributes. If you want to drag and drop by continents, you can do that. Same goes with your dimension attributes, just like we added this particular gender and color. All these things. We can just simply use the drag and drop functionality. This is also a separate segment of drag and drop. Now you can see this is another segment called blank space. You can just use it for, this is only for making the display much better, basically. Once you add the segment here, which is called as the space, and now it is asking me to select a dimension and attribute. I will just select sales representative. Now click on save. What happens when you run the report? Delete and delete. I'm just deleting and doing it again. Let's say I'm doing. Load account experience representative. I'm just deleting this. This is just nothing. But you get a space, basically a formatting kind of thing. Now let's try to see what is the other thing. Custom header. It's asking me for this. Let me just delete this one. System header you cannot add. No, I can't. Just we will see what is the exact usage of this, because at the moment I'm getting some error. Now let's try to understand what are the other features. You can add currencies also. Suppose in this particular report, you want the information in the local currency level because by default, the information is going to reflect in, India's dollars as the parent thing. If you want the data to be captured for Indian employees for into in, this is where you can have the control. We were seeing if the possibility is there in the system where you can add the currencies in the first report itself, because by default in adaptive it is taking us dollars as the by default currency. Suppose if this particular thing is built for Indian employees, you can have the data loaded in the Indian currencies itself. It will not be converting the values automatically with the exchange rate. You will get the values in format. Same goes with your Canada, same goes with your Symbit. That level should be having this currency tagged in the level structure. If it is tagged as dollars, then you cannot do anything. You should make sure that if the currencies are correctly mapped, if they are not using the by default thus dollars currency as the reporting. Now same as we go with your display as function, where you have three options where you can add a value. You can create a custom or you can create a percentage. Let's just say that you are adding some value here. Adding value. Just click on save and let's run. What happens with this? We just got one tab here. It does not really make any sense if I delete. I'm deleting the time span. I'm just saving this. It's basically summing up the entire data, and it is giving up us the value. Similarly, if we explore the other options, percentage of account, you can just right click and see what is the. You get the by default thing, and there is certain element properties. We will do this also as percentage of this. This we can change the account settings, cube and your total product purchase price, and just save it. It's going to give you a certain percentage of our total purchase price. At the moment, it's coming as 0. Then display, as we have a custom thing also. And this is nothing but a formula assistant thing, and where you can write any kind of formulas here. Suppose I'm going to write, I'm just going to delete this thing. I'm going to select my formula from here, and let's say I'm going to do this into, it's got added this, and you are using a custom account, custom column, where you can get the privilege of writing the formulas in the report also. Usually this formula assistant is only popping up in any accounts that you build in Adaptive. But this particular report will also give you the same functionality of adding a formula to your columns. If you have two columns here and the values are reflecting here, you can make a custom calculated account for adding those two values. This is the purpose of this display. As a function facilities, you can have several columns here, and you can just then create a new column and just do this. For example, I will maybe let's see the output first, how it is looking. If you scroll, you get the custom. You are getting the multiplication of the accounts which you have added. For example, what I'll do, I will just go here and delete this. Deleting is simple. You just click on the element that you added and click on this delete. Suppose I'm going to add again the times in the columns. Oh, you think it's 2023? Yes, sir, display as custom. It's not clickable in the time parameter. Formula assistant, can you write the formula on the time? I'm just trying to see, and this is this. If I go and write this formula here 1 second, I'll have to delete this. Oh, then this, just click here, save it, run it, and once you practice, you will also understand the additional functionalities of this. Basically, at the moment it is not working correctly. As in, when you start using the tool, you will understand. This particular element is required in this axis. At the moment, the current of thing that we are trying is not working as per or thing. Let's try to explore other options, and we have this calculations also. It's basically the subtotal, and then we have the subtotal, and we have this subtotal here, and I'll just save this, and it will automatically add the values here. Majorly, this particular functionality is used in report, and we rarely use the display as functionality because this gives the funds the possibility to do the addition or subtraction or any formula for the values which are reflecting by time. If you have to write any formulas by time, this is the functionality that we can use. Subtotal is one of them. The second is the difference. You just drag and drop, and then you can write what is the difference between March and February. You can change the values also in the property section. You can display this as a percentage and whatever it is. And difference option. You can choose the difference between what and what. Here the difference is between March and Feb. If you want the difference between March and January, you can do that also. You can simply select the month, which is your January, and click on apply and then save it. Now in the same thing you will see in the report, you have the subtotal also and the difference thing also, and now as you see in the report, it's not coming anything because there is no difference between March and Jan. It is 0. The column is reflecting, but it will be 0. Yes, but if you see this particular screen, the name of this column is huge. You want to change the name. How do you change the column name? Just click on Edit, click on Write, click on it, go to Properties, and this is the label. You just write difference and click on Apply and then save it. Now if you run it again, the report will change and the names, whichever you want to, whichever you have changed, it will reflect as it. Like this, you can do renaming. You can utilize the subtotal and the difference, a calculation thing. If again you want to write a formula based on time, you use this. Mostly this is not used. This is used because ideally all the reports are by time. That's why we use this particular custom. Let's say I'm going to write a formula here. Custom calculation, right? How to write the formula? Basically, right click on it and then formula system. Suppose I'm going to write a formula that I'm going to do March month divided by. I'm going to use the division function mathematical div. I will add it here. My numerator is March and my denominator is this. I'm going to do March upon January. I should get certain computation depending on the value which is flowing in March and January. This will mean this will be giving the output for my column. If you notice there is another syntax that is coming in the screen. You are familiar with ACT, which is account dot. You are familiar with raw dot, which comes in the model sheet. But in reports, whenever you are writing for a formula, there is a apt dot syntax which is coming. Basically, this apt is nothing, but you are writing a formula in the report. Apt. If you see apt something, that means it is built inside the report and it is addressing an element inside that report. That's why in the looking at this formula, you will see that it is not addressing an account, it is not addressing a row, it is addressing element from the report itself. Which element? It is the time element, the value which is flowing in March and the value which is flowing in January. Remaining thing is same. I'm just clicking on and I will just rename this again. How to rename? Right click and I will just say division. This is the name of this. I will save it and then run it. I know this particular session was very technical, but yes, we are understanding how to build reports because this is a one type of activity that every implementation happens. It's if you don't understand all the things because this particular section is only practice, practice, practice. Once you get hands on the modeling part, then only you jump on this thing. If it's normal because you understand it when you are trying to build a lot of things in adaptive. You can see the division column is reflecting and this is nothing but your March value by Jan 400 by 400 is giving 1. This is another feature in adaptive where you can use the subtotal difference and writing the formulas for your time elements, whichever is reflecting here. For that you use this particular element which is called as your calculations. With this you have completed. What are the all types of elements here? Now if whenever you click on this report, let's say whenever you click on this report, I am just going to open it where it is practice. I click on practice report. The moment I click on practice report, it shows me the output page. It shows me the output page, right? But let's say if you want a pop-up should come up before this output. Before this step, one pop-up should come that the users are given the feasibility to enter some certain kind of things. It's like a check box thing. It's like a drop down thing. Basically, You can select which level you want the data. You can select which employee you want the data. If you're giving that kind of information text selector thing to them, how to do that? Basically, this is the thing where the parameters options come into picture. For example, what I will do, I want the report. I want the report in such a way that when I click on the report, it should ask me which level I need to select this particular report. What I will do, I have added the levels here. I would just drag and I will just select the operations level from here and drag and drop to parameters. This is added to a parameter. Now this is a section called parameter. Now if you right click on it and go on properties, you will see that there is an option called as this checkbox, prompt before viewing. Whenever you're trying to view before view, you are giving the user a prompt, a pop-up that you need to select which level you want to run this data. Which level you want to run this data. I am just going to select everything and click on apply. I will just save this. Now let's see. Let's see if you go back and again open this sheet from the shared folder, what happens. Now we are in the shared folder practice report. You will see one pop-up coming up. Select parameters to run the run. Select parameters and run to view the report. You did not get the output automatically. There is one pop-up that is coming that you need to select one level at least. Suppose here I give the selection to them that I want the data for my user level. I have selected user and I click on run. Once you give that text selector or that particular prompt, whichever it was asked, it then gives you the desired output. Now you have the output by user level. Again, if you want to change the level, it is giving you an option here in the screen itself to change the level. If you want to see for UCK, you can do that. At the moment, you can see UCK data. We have certain data for UCK also. If you want to change the data again, you can change it to level India and you will see run report. You have the run report option and now you can see you are getting the data. For you are getting an error and the error is saying that you have suppressed rows columns F with all zeros or blanks. That means in India there is no data. This is the way you can utilize the parameters function where you can add it a prompt. You can give it as a prompt and it gives additional filters in the section for you to select the level. This is one feature. And now the filters is another feature where you can just add a filter. I'm not able to add this. See, no second. See, the representative cannot add. I'm going to add a product name filter to it. I'm just going to save it because I have all the other dimensions or attributes I've added somewhere in the report. I'm going to select user and run the report. This is the prompt that I'm getting and I am going to see we have this. I need to edit and I go into filters properties. That's product name, apply save. Sorry, this one is division, number of products. Purchase. If I do it by product name, I'm getting it here. Then I go back forms, I'm adding it in this apply and now I am going to run it. It's there. Now you can see. You can filter the sheet by product name also. This is what I wanted to do and I will select by product in the same sheet and then run report. Only for product, the reports will be run automatically. Similarly, if you have any data in product C, you can run the report. If there is no data, then it will show this kind of error. This is all kind of functionalities that you can use and add and make it visually appealing. Also, we have this conditional formatting and the numbers and the styling part. We will understand what are the report properties that you can do in all the reports. We have seen how we can build a normal report, basic report, and we have understood the functionalities of it. These are the elements which we have to create it manually first before adding it to the report. And then it's just a drag and drop, creating the view just like it is required in the system. At the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm just deleting this and deleting sales representative and just save it. Only these two accounts should reflect and then run it that my number of levels, that my number of columns in the report has changed. I think I need to change the level. Need to change user. We have data right. Edit. I'm not getting the filter for product because it is selected as a product named C and there is no data on the C. That's why it is showing this error. Show all parameters. We have this option and I can select product now and then run report. Now this is the output, desired output, which we have deleted certain columns which are not required. I have this data right. You have seen the drill into one standard T. Also that how you can drill into by same you can understand. By color you can see color. You will see a certain data coming up here and this is the lowest level data because now it's not bold. This means that this is the lowest level data. You click on right click and just go to back. Oh, I need to run it again. Show our parameters. Product or run report. Now, what are the other features that appear at the report? And basically, this is the report format. And you can see there are certain functionalities that are there. One is the simplest thing. You just download as an Excel or you can download as a PDF also. If you just download this as an Excel, exact format is downloaded in the Excel format. Basically, if users are very familiar using an Excel file itself and they want certain kind of analysis directly in an Excel file, just like they do it in the pivot using the pivot function, They will get the output in the Excel file also. Same goes with the PIF. You can just download it as a PDF and directly the output can be in the PDF format. This is nothing but your refresh button. Whatever changes you do and you run the report or you either do the refreshing. Search is similar to search. If you have several levels, several accounts here, you can just use the search function. Share is nothing, but this report should be shared with which user. This is a share functionality where you can have this particular report shared with certain users. This is nothing but save. If you have done certain changes to this in the report, you can save it again or save as a new report. You can make certain changes. You can keep the existing report as practice report 2 and create a new report as practice report 3 by doing certain changes. If you don't have to build the report from scratch again, it will automatically make all the copies that is existing in the third report. You just do a final change that you add another column in the third report. You don't have to build the report from scratch again. You can utilize this save as function to just clone the report. It's basically reducing your time spent on this. This is a feature of creating a snapshot. Every month and certain reports, they demand a snapshot to be created, a snapshot to be clicked and sent across to the user. You can just click on the snapshot and then this snapshot can be shared with a lot of users. And it can be shared in folders also and in the format that you want. It can be in a PDF format, it can be an Excel, or it can be a normal report format also. That is a good feature and it is heavily used in organizations where every month and you require a snapshot of certain kind of information. January, this was the snapshot. February, this was the SnapNote snapshot. Everything you can collate and save it in certain folders that later on you can just view those particular folders and those data. That what was the exact snapshot captured and what was the exact data by month. This is a good functionality and it is very, very often used in organizations. This is another. Another functionality show information is nothing but this. Report information where it is placed, what is the by default currency, and what are the access or data for the access rules. It's basically giving the information of the report, and this is nothing but your notes. It is just like an additional note that can be added. If we build a valuable report to the end users and we want to give them a note, that for using this report, you need to select the levels, you need to select the accounts. You can have the note reflecting here that they can read the steps and follow it. Here there will be no confusion for the end users to operate. This is just for implementers to make life easy for the end users. This is again a feature which all the implementers use, that it is adding some value to the end users. You can add a note and it adds a value to them. This is about the functionalities that are there in the front end of the reports, the initial part, the model building part of reports. We have seen what are the functionalities on the left, and this is all high things, that how do you build a report in a good manner, and what are the additional functionalities that you can use. But today we focused on simple thing on how to build a report and how you just do the drag and drop thing. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.